can't tell if I'm live or not. I cannot tell if I'm live or not. Hello, everyone. If this is, just to let you know, I'm double checking to make sure that I am live streaming right now. Hello. Am I there? Are we in business? What's happening? Alright, so I can't tell yet. Let me see. Let me double check. I'm gonna check my YouTube page to see if I am live. Which I hope that I am. Let's see here. If you can see this, bear with me and give me just a moment, because I'm trying to get this up and running, and it's been a long time since I've done a live stream. So, let's see here. Let's see if I'm live. Still can't tell. Okay, I think I'm live. I think it's happening. Is it? Is this happening? Am I happening? There we are. Okay. Let's see. Alright. So, you guys, I want to apologize for the lack in video quality, because it's really not my forte to have this. I am streaming off of an old webcam because I spent the majority of the evening trying to get my HD camera to work, and I just couldn't. I think I'm gonna have to order another part so that I can live stream off of that camera to give you the quality that we need. But this live stream was supposed to be yesterday, but I've had a lot going on, which I am going to talk to you about. I 100% hate the quality on this live stream, so I'm kind of mad about it, but I'm going to read you a bedtime story. Well, we're going to start reading a book together, and I'm going to start it with a live stream, but it's actually going to be the entire Percy Jackson series, because I'm a dork. And I wanted to kind of make an announcement before we get started. Now, we hit 1,000 subscribers, which has already blown my mind. It has 100% blown my mind, because I started this channel probably about a year ago and made like 2 ASMR videos, and then I got so overwhelmed with everything else that I was doing that I stopped. And when I started making videos again back in March, I had 30 subscribers. And it blows my mind that I'm already at 1,000, because my other channel that I've had for 5 years, it took me an entire year to get 200 subscribers. And I thought that it was going to progress at that specific rate right there. And it didn't. I'm very, very surprised by that. And this started growing, and I kept making content because not only is it relaxing and soothing for me, but it's relaxing and soothing for you guys. And I know a lot of you guys are new since I mentioned this, but I struggle very heavily with depression and anxiety. And I've worked very, very hard this year to get off of my blood pressure medicine by eating healthy. I quit smoking at the beginning of the year. You know, good for me. I'm very proud of that. And I got off of my antidepressants about 2 months ago because I felt like I was in a good place to take care of myself. And that is kind of a big deal for me. So, before we get started watching this video, I wanted to say thank you to you guys for getting me to 1,000 subscribers already. It's kind of wild to even think that. No, I'm not monetizing this channel yet. I'm probably going to give it like another month or so before I do that. I've got the notification bell and all that other stuff saying that I can do that. And it's submitted. And I don't think it's going to probably take a month to come back, but I'm probably going to wait another month before I start doing that. Just because I want to give you guys a heads up that in the future, ads are going to start popping up in the beginning and at the end. I'm never going to do anything in the middle of the video because the purpose of this is to be able to get you to sleep and relax and to give you tingles, to give you the tingles and help you fall asleep. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because this coming up week, I am not going to have any videos posted for this week. I know I've been posting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm supposed to actually be posting on Saturdays, but I have been flooded with a lot of things that I can't even get done. I've got this channel. I've got another YouTube channel that I'm actually not going to be posting this week on there either. And I'm really sorry if this video is splotchy. I hate that. I don't really understand why that's even happening. But my mental health is being very severely challenged right now because my grandmother is very, very sick. She raised me. She's like my mom. And my grandfather's already passed, so she's the last one that I have left. And she's not doing so hot. She's been in and out of the hospital all year, and I think it's getting close to time. I don't like saying that, but I can just feel it. And it's really been wearing on me because of COVID. I haven't been able to even go see her. And that really hurts me a lot. But not only that, but at the exact same time, I've taken a new full-time job, which I wasn't really expecting that to happen. I'm happy that it is, and I'm happy that I have it, because that's way more than a lot of people have right now, especially during this pandemic. And I'm not complaining at all. I'm grateful to have what I have. I'm grateful to have you guys. I'm grateful to have this job. And I'm grateful that I'm able to speak to my grandmother but it is very taxing on my mental health. And since I went off of my antidepressants, but I knew I could. But this past week, I've been so busy that I've been sacrificing taking care of myself in order to get stuff done, and that has caused me to be in a position where I need to just take this week to focus on my mental health, to get back on track to being healthy again, and then I can start right back next week having videos up and ready to go for you guys. And I'm hoping by the time that I actually do another live stream like this, that I end up being able to have better quality than this. Because listen, I'm not gonna lie, I am very aware that this sound is good. I like the sound. The video is crap. But I really appreciate you guys even watching my videos, let alone being able to do something like this. So I just wanted to give you guys a fair heads up of this week I'm not having any videos posted, but I've got almost 100 videos that you can go back and watch if you really want something. I'm still gonna be able to respond to you in the comments section, and I'll do the best that I can to speak to you throughout the week. I almost feel guilty not posting videos this week because I know actually a lot of you have actually contacted me and told me that you guys look forward to my videos, and trust me, I love that. That makes my heart warm. And I feel really bad about not posting this upcoming week. But that's just kind of where I'm at. And I can see it says you've inspired me to start my own channel too, so thank you. You're very welcome. Someone actually inspired me to create this ASMR channel. And just the fact that I struggle with depression and anxiety drove me to make this channel and start making videos like this, because it really is therapeutic. So any advice, before we get started, this has been a really long intro, but this is a live stream and I have no idea how long I plan to go on for this. So just sit back and relax and listen to me ramble, and I'm gonna start reading in just a moment. But if you're just now getting started, then I think one of the good things for you to do would be to go through and look at different types of ASMR videos to see what kinds you want to do. There's a lot of people that just do role plays. I incorporate some role plays into this channel, and I would like to incorporate more when I have the time to do so. But the videos that I like the most is when I'm just kind of sitting down in front of the mic and I'm whispering to you like this, and I'm kind of slowing myself down, and I'm making sounds and words that kind of like bring you down and relax you. And that's kind of where I got the idea to read you guys a series that I really like. So, with that being said, I am going to start reading this. Sorry, I didn't expect to get choked up about my grandmother on camera, because I don't. It's okay. I'm gonna keep going. So this is the first Percy Jackson book. I don't know how many of you have actually read or watched the movie. I was really upset that they made a movie in one sequel and then didn't make any more, because it was one of my favorites when I was still watching DVDs. But I've actually already read this one, and I've read the other two books. I have the whole series. I've just never finished them, and I want to finish them with you. So I probably will do this live stream, and then I'll keep making videos reading this to you until I can get the part that I need ordered to just stream off of my camera so that I can have better quality, and we can kind of do this. So I see a couple of you are on. I'm glad that you could catch this too. I wasn't really sure how many people would be able to watch on a Sunday night, but just relax and just stay calm and settle in and just fall asleep to this. Okay, so here we go. Okay, Chapter 1. Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is, close this book right now. Believe what every lie your mom or dad told you about your birth, and try to lead a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time, it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you feel something stirring inside, stop reading immediately. You might be one of us, and once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they sense it too. And they'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you. My name is Percy Jackson. I'm 12 years old. Until a few months ago, I was boarding a student at Yancey Academy, a private school for troubled kids in upstate New York. Am I a troubled kid? Yeah, you could say that. I could start at any point in my short, miserable life to prove it. But things really started going bad last May when our 6th grade class took a field trip to Manhattan. 28 mental case kids and 2 teachers on a yellow school bus heading to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at an ancient Greek and Roman stuff. By the way, I chose not to wear my glasses for this because I wanted to be comfy. I may change that next time. I know, it sounds like torture. Most Yancey field trips were. But Mr. Brenner, our Latin teacher, was leading this trip, so I had hopes. Mr. Brenner was this middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning hair and a scruffy beard and a frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons, so he was the only teacher whose class didn't put me to sleep. I hoped the trip would be okay. At least I hoped that. For once, I couldn't get in trouble. But boy, was I wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school, when we went to the Saratoga battlefield, I had this accident with a Revolutionary War cannon. I wasn't aiming for the school bus, but of course I got expelled anyway. And before that, at my 4th grade school, when we took a behind-the-scenes tour of the Marine World shark pool, I sort of hit the wrong lever on the catwalk, and our class took an unplanned swim. And the time before that, well, you get the idea. This trip, I was determined to be good. All the way into the city, I put up with Nancy Bobofit, the freckly red-headed kleptomaniac girl, hitting my best friend Grover in the back of the head with chunks of peanut butter and ketchup sandwich. Gross. Grover was an easy target. He was scrawny. He cried when he got frustrated. He must have been held back several grades because he was the only 6th grader with acne and the start of a wispy beard on his chin. On top of all that, he was crippled. He had a note of excusing him for PE for the rest of his life because he had some kind of muscular disease with his legs. He walked funny, like every step hurt him, but don't let that fool you. You should have seen him run when it was enchilada day in the cafeteria. Anyway, Nancy Bobofit was throwing wads of sandwich that stuck in his curly brown hair. And she knew I couldn't do anything back at her because I was already on probation. The headmaster had threatened me with death by in-school suspension if anything bad, embarrassing, or even mildly entertaining happened on this trip. I'm going to kill her, I mumbled. Grover tried to calm me down. It's okay. I like peanut butter. He dodged another piece of Nancy's lunch. That's it. I started to get up, but Grover pulled me back to my seat. You're already on probation, he reminded me. You know who'll get blamed if anything happens. Looking back on it, I wish I'd decked Nancy Bobofit right then and there. In-school suspension would have been nothing compared to the mess I was about to get myself into. Mr. Brunner led the museum tour. He rode up front in his wheelchair, guiding us through the big, echoey galleries, past marble statues and glass cases full of really old black and orange pottery. It blew my mind that this stuff had survived for 2,000, 3,000 years. He gathered us around a 13-foot stone column with a big sphinx on top and started telling us how it was a grave marker. A still? For a girl about our age. He told us about the carvings on the sides. I was trying to listen to what he had to say because it was kind of interesting. But everybody around me was talking, and every time I told them to shut up, the other teacher chaperone, Mrs. Dodds, would give me the evil eye. Spoiler alert. We don't like Mrs. Dodds. Mrs. Dodds was the little math teacher from Georgia who always wore a black leather jacket. Even though she was 50 years old, she looked mean enough to ride a Harley right into your locker. She had to come to Yancey halfway through the year when our last math teacher had a nervous breakdown. Convenient. From her first day, Mrs. Dodds loved Nancy Bobofit, and I figured I was devil spawn. She would point her crooked finger at me and say, "Now, honey," real sweet. And I knew I was going to get after-school detention for a month. One time, after she'd make me erase answers out of the old math workbooks until midnight, I told Grover I didn't think Mrs. Dodds was human. He looked at me really serious and said, "You're absolutely right." Mrs. Brunner kept talking about Greek funeral art. Finally, Nancy Bobofit snickered something about the naked guy on the steel, and I turned around and said, Will you shut up? It came out louder than I meant it to. The whole group laughed. Mr. Murner stopped his story. Mr. Jackson, he said, do you have a comment? My face was totally red. I said, no, sir. Mr. Brunner pointed to one of the pictures on the steel. Perhaps you'll tell us what this picture represents. I looked at the carving and felt a flush of relief because I actually recognized it. That's Kronos eating his kids, right? Yes, Mr. Brunner said, obviously not satisfied. And he did this because, well, I racked my brain to remember. Kronos was the king god, and God? Mr. Brunner asked. Titan, I corrected myself. And he didn't trust his kids. Who were the gods? So, Kronos ate them, right? But his wife hid baby Zeus and gave Kronos a rock to eat instead. And later, when Zeus grew up, he tricked his dad, Kronos, into barfing up his brothers and sisters. Ew, said one of the girls behind me. And so there was this big fight between the gods and the Titans, I continued. And the gods won. Sorry, you guys, my neck is starting to hurt because I'm actually really tall. Like really, really tall. It's a blessing and a curse. Some snickers from the group. Behind me, Nancy Boba Fett mumbled to a friend. Like we're going to use this in real life. Like it's going to say on our job applications. Please explain why Kronos ate his kids. And why, Mr. Jackson, Brunner said. To paraphrase, Miss Boba Fett's excellent question, does this matter in real life? Busted, Grover muttered. Shut up, Nancy hissed, her face even brighter red than her hair. At least Nancy got packed, too. Mr. Brunner was the only one who ever caught her saying anything wrong. He had radar ears. I thought about this question and shrugged. I don't know, sir. I see. Mr. Brunner looked disappointed. Well, half credit, Mr. Jackson. Zeus did indeed feed Kronos a mixture of mustard and wine, which made him disgorge his other 5 children, who, of course, being immortal gods, had been living and growing completely undigested in the Titan's stomach. The gods defeated their father, sliced him to pieces with his own scythe, and scattered his remains in Tartarus, the darkest part of the underworld. On that happy note, it's time for lunch. Mrs. Dodds, would you lead us back outside? How tall are you? I am 6'4". Well, I was 6'4" about 3 years ago when I checked last. I may be taller. I just haven't looked. All right. The class drifted off, the girls holding their stomachs, the guys pushing each other around and acting like doofuses. Grover and I were about to follow when Mr. Brunner said, Mr. Jackson. I knew what was coming. I told Grover to keep going. Then I turned toward Brunner. Sir? Mr. Brunner had this look that wouldn't let you go. Intense brown eyes that could have been 1,000 years old and have seen everything. Mr. Brunner had this look that wouldn't let you go, and I just said that. I really should do an outtake reel for you guys because I do stuff like this all the time when filming my videos, and I just kind of laugh it off and make a joke about it. And it probably would be really funny if I meshed all of it in together. But I had all of this footage saved for the past 5 years of this channel and my other channel, and my hard drive crashed a week ago and I lost everything. So I'm just gonna have to let that go, even though I haven't yet, and it really hurts me. But I'm gonna see if I can recover some of the data. We'll see. If not, I'll have as many videos as I film. I'll have a reel for you guys soon. So, you must learn the answer to my question, Mr. Brenner told me. About the Titans, about real life, and how your studies apply to it. Oh, what you learned from me, he said, is vitally important. I expect you to treat it as such. I will accept only the best from you, Percy Jackson. I wanted to get angry. This guy pushed me so hard. I mean, sure, it was kind of cool on tournament days when he dressed up in a suit of Roman armor and shouted, "What ho!" and challenged us, sword point against chalk, to run the board and name every Greek and Roman person who had ever lived, and their mother, and what god they worshipped. But Mr. Brenner expected me to be as good as everybody else, despite the fact that I have dyslexia and attention deficit disorder, and I had never made above a C- in my life. Can't relate. No, he didn't expect me to be as good. He expected me to be better. And I couldn't just learn all of those names and facts, much less spell them correctly. I mumbled something about trying harder, while Mr. Brenner took one long, sad look at the steel, like he'd been at this girl's funeral. Spoiler alert, he probably had been. He told me to go outside and eat my lunch. That sucks. Sorry to hear that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to take a brief intermission of reading this so that I can rub that one spot in the back of everybody's neck that always hurts. Do you know what I'm talking about? Anyways, I guess I'll go ahead and get back. Let's see how many pages we've got. Oh, we've got a solid 3 pages left to read. We're fine. At least for this chapter, anyway. The class gathered on the front steps of the museum, where we could watch the foot traffic along Fifth Avenue. Overhead, a huge storm was brewing, with clouds blacker than I'd ever seen over the city. I figured maybe it was global warming or something, because the weather all across New York State had been weird since Christmas. We'd had massive snowstorms, flooding, wildfires from lightning strikes. I wouldn't have been surprised if this was a hurricane. Blowing in. Wow, I'm really doing a great job right now. Nobody else seemed to notice. Some of the guys were pelting pigeons with Lunchable crackers. Nancy Bobafett was trying to pickpocket something from a lady's purse. And of course, Mrs. Dodds wasn't seeing a thing. Grover and I sat on the edge of the fountain, away from the others. We thought that maybe if we did that, everybody wouldn't know we were from that school, the school for loser freaks who couldn't make it elsewhere. Detention? Grover asked. Nah, I said. Not from Brenner. I just wish he'd lay off me sometimes. I mean, I'm not a genius. Grover didn't say anything for a while. Then, when I thought he was going to give me some deep philosophical comment to make me feel better, he said, "Can I have your apple?" I didn't have much of an appetite, so I let him take it. I watched the stream of cabs going down Fifth Avenue and thought about my mom's apartment, only a little ways uptown from where we sat. I hadn't seen her since Christmas. I wanted so bad to jump in a taxi and head home. She'd hug me and be glad to see me, but she'd be disappointed too. She'd sent me right back to Yancey, remind me that I had to try harder, even if this was my 6th school in 6 years, and I was probably going to be kicked out again. I wouldn't be able to stand that sad look she'd give me. Mr. Brenner parked his wheelchair at the base of the handicapped ramp. He ate celery while he read a paperback novel. A red umbrella stuck up from the back of his chair, making it look like a motorized cafe table. I was about to unwrap my sandwich when Nancy Bulbafit appeared in front of me with her ugly friends. I guess she'd gotten tired of stealing from the tourists and had dumped her half-eaten lunch in Grover's lap. Oops, she grinned at me with her crooked teeth. Her freckles were orange, as if somebody had spray-painted her face with liquid Cheetos. I tried to stay cool. The school counselor had told me 1,000,000 times, "Count to 10, get control of your temper." But I was so mad my mind went blank. A wave roared in my ears. I don't remember touching her, but the next thing I knew, Nancy was sitting on her butt in the fountain, screaming, "Percy pushed me!" Mrs. Dodds materialized next to us. Some of the kids were whispering, "Did you see the water? Like it grabbed her." I didn't know what they were talking about. All I knew was that I was in trouble again. As soon as Miss Dodds was sure poor little Nancy was okay, I'm promising to get her a new shirt at the museum gift shop, etc., etc. Mrs. Dodds turned on me. There was a triumphant fire in her eyes, as if I'd done something she'd been waiting for all semester. "Now, honey, I know," I grumbled. "A month erasing workbooks. That wasn't the right thing to say." "Come with me," Mrs. Dodds said. "Wait," Grover yelped. "It was me. I pushed her." I stared at him, stunned. I couldn't believe he was trying to cover for me. Mrs. Dodds scared Grover to death. She glared at him so hard his whiskery chin trembled. "I don't think so, Mr. Underwood," she said. "But you will stay here." Grover looked at me desperately. "It's okay, man," I told him. "Thanks for trying." "Honey," Miss Dodds barked at me. "Now." Nancy Bulbafit smirked. If I gave her my deluxe "I'll kill you later" stare, then I turned my face to Mrs. Dodds, but she wasn't there. She was standing at the museum entrance, way at the top of the steps, gesturing impatiently at me to come on. How'd she get there so fast? I have moments like that a lot, where my brain falls asleep or something, and the next thing I know, I've missed something, as if a puzzle piece fell out of the universe and left me staring at the blank place behind it. The school counselor told me this was part of the ADHD. My brain misinterprets things. I wasn't so sure. I went after Miss Dodds. Halfway up the steps, I glanced back at Grover. He was looking pale, cutting his eyes between me and Mr. Brenner like he wanted Mr. Brenner to notice what was going on, but Mr. Brenner was absorbed in his novel. I looked back up. Mrs. Dodds had disappeared again. She was now inside the building at the end of the entrance hall. Okay, I thought. She's going to make me buy a new shirt for Nancy at the gift shop. But apparently that wasn't the plan. I followed her deeper into the museum. When I finally got up to her, we were back in the Greek and Roman section. Except for us, the gallery was empty. Mrs. Dodds stood with her arms crossed in front of a big marble frieze of Greek gods. She was making this weird noise in her throat, like growling. Even without the noise, I would have been nervous. It's weird being alone with a teacher, especially Miss Dodds. Something about the way she looked at the frieze as if she wanted to pulverize it. "You've been giving us problems, honey," she said. "I did the safe thing," I said. "Yes, ma'am." She tugged on the cuffs of her leather jacket. "Did you really think you would get away with it?" The look in her eyes was beyond mad. It was evil. "She's a teacher," I thought nervously. "It's not like she's going to hurt me." I said, I'll try harder, ma'am." Thunder shook the building. "We are not fools, Percy Jackson," Mrs. Dodds said. "It was only a matter of time before we found you out. Confess, and you will suffer less pain." I didn't know what she was talking about. All I could think of was that the teachers must have found the illegal stash of candy I'd been selling out of my dorm room, or maybe they'd realized I got my essay on Tom Sawyer from the internet without even reading the book, and now they're going to take away my grade. Or worse, they were going to make me read the book. Well, she demanded. Ma'am, I don't... Your time is up, she hissed. Then the weirdest thing happened. Her eyes began to glow like barbecue coals. Her fingers stretched, turning into talons. Her jacket melted into large, leathery wings. She wasn't human. She was a shriveled hag with bat wings and claws and a mouthful of yellow fangs, and she was about to slice me into ribbons. Then things got even stranger. The girl got what she deserved. You got that right. Mr. Brunner, who'd been out in front of the museum a minute before, wheeled his chair into the doorway of the gallery, holding a pen in his hand. What ho, Percy, he shouted, and tossed the pen through the air. Mrs. Dodge lunged at me. With a yelp, I dodged and felt talons slash the air next to my ear. I snatched the ballpoint pen out of the air, but when it hit my hand, it wasn't a pen anymore. It was a sword, Mrs. Brenner's bronze sword, which he always used on tournament day. Mrs. Dodd spun towards me with a murderous look in her eyes. My knees were jelly, my hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the sword. She snarled, "Die, honey," and she flew straight at me. Absolute terror ran through my body. I did the only thing that came naturally. I swung the sword. I'm sorry, that would not come naturally to me. Swinging the sword, you just got one in your hand. What? Sorry, I can't help it. You're going to have commentary in every single one of these videos. The metal blade hit her shoulder and passed clean through her body as if she were made of water. Hiss. Mrs. Dodds was a sandcastle and a power fan. She exploded into yellow powder, vaporized on the spot, leaving nothing but the smell of sulfur and a dying screech of a child of evil in the air as if those two glowing red eyes were still watching me. I was alone. There was a ballpoint pen in my hand. Mr. Brunner wasn't there. Nobody was there but me. My hands were still trembling. My lunch must have been contaminated with magic mushrooms or something. Had I imagined the whole thing? I went back outside. It had started to rain. Grover was sitting by the fountain, a museum map tented over his head. Nancy Beaumont was still standing there, soaked from her swim in the fountain, grumbling to her ugly friends. When she saw me, she said, "I hope Mrs. Kerr whipped your butt." I said, "Who?" "Our teacher, duh." I blinked. We had no teacher named Mrs. Kerr. I asked Nancy what she was talking about. She rolled her eyes and turned away. I asked Grover where Mrs. Dodds was. He said, "Who?" But he paused first, and he wouldn't look at me, so I thought he was messing with me. "Not funny, man," I told him. "This is serious." Thunder boomed overhead. I saw Mr. Brunner sitting under his red umbrella, reading his book as if he'd never moved. I went over to him. He looked up, a little distracted. "Ah, that would be my pen. Please bring your own writing utensil in the future, Mr. Jackson." I handed Mr. Brunner his pen. I hadn't even realized I was still holding it. "Sir," I said, "where's Mrs. Dodds?" He stared at me blankly. "Who?" "The other chaperone, Mrs. Dodds, the pre-algebra teacher." He frowned and sat forward, looking mildly concerned. "Percy, there is no Mrs. Dodds on this trip. As far as I know, there has never been a Mrs. Dodds at Yancey Academy. Are you feeling all right?" All right. That was chapter 1. And I am going to end it with this as far as the reading goes. Finally, an ASMR channel with a capable time zone. compatible time zone. Thank you. Ow. I've been sitting in this stool crouching down for a solid 44 minutes. And let me know what you guys think about this. Because if you guys like me reading and giving small commentary on chapter for chapter, I'll keep doing this because I love these books. The movies are my favorite. I might actually rewatch the movies. But I'm going to close this out with a little bit of positive energy to give you guys just some good vibes. I know I'm going to be absent this upcoming week. And like I said, I apologize for that. But I just want you to know that while I'm kind of giving myself a mental break, I'm going to try to revamp some things. I'm not going to push too hard because then that defeats the purpose of me taking a week off. But I want to structure some role plays for you so that I can have a few of those coming out in the future. In between my videos of mouth sounds and inaudible facts and the other videos that I really love to do. I just want you guys to know that I know this is a hard time for everyone, especially the people who are searching for jobs, the people who have families that have been affected by COVID and by this economy in general. It's hard. And I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that no one's ever seen anything like this before. This is new territory for everyone, not just you. And, you know, I got into a really bad funk last week, and that's normal. If you get down on yourself, it's normal. One of the things that I hate more than anything is toxic positivity. I don't like the words, it's fine and I'm fine. I don't like the words, it's okay. I like saying, I don't feel good today. It's okay not to be alright. It's okay to feel like crap today. Because that is what's real. And that's what people are feeling. In those types of sentences and thoughts, validate how you feel. It's okay, or I'm fine, or everything's going to be fine. Just kind of sweeps everything under the rug. And it doesn't give you any opening whatsoever to just feel what you're feeling. And that's how you have to roll with this. I was not okay last week. And when I say these things to you all, I'm not whining or complaining or bitching. I am saying these things to you all because that's what I'm feeling in the moment. And you're not going to move past that unless you validate it and name it and feel it and then go and then move on. Done. Boom. So just know that I am here for you. And even though I'm not going to be making videos this week, I'm picking right back up on my schedule the next week. After this following week, we're going right back to normal schedule of posting videos. And I'm still going to be with you in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to. I don't post every single day on there. I am trying to post more. because some of you guys are following me on there. I've just been on this whole kick of Instagram's full of fake people and fake pictures and people who pretend to have perfect lives. And if you post a picture that looks anything less than perfect, you kind of get shit on. And I'm not all about that. I am about living in the moment and feeling your emotions as they happen and being honest and out loud about them with them. If you're not okay, it's okay not to be okay. I don't know why this turned into a pep talk, but you know what? We're here. This is where we are. And I love you guys. I like just chatting with you guys. This is my therapy. I can do this and not have to pay $120 an hour. But yeah, I love you guys very much. And I would like to think that you guys are here for me. But I am here for you also. And it's fine. It's fine. It's fine to be in the situation that we're in. It's fine that we're in a pandemic and we don't know how to act. It's fine that we're not fine. Even people at my new place of employment, everyone is smiling and spitting rainbows out of their mouth and they're happy 24/7. And I'm just sitting there looking at them going, that's not real. Like, it's almost comical at this point. That Sky guy, I'm going to read your comment because it makes me feel better. Thank you for this. It's great to hear all of this from someone, and I hope you continue to do these reading live streams. Also, sorry for spam the chat with my own commentary. Hope your week goes great. Listen, you're not spamming the chat with your commentary. You're talking to me. So, what you just said right there, don't apologize. You don't have to. You're being yourself. You're saying what you want to say. Which is exactly what I do. I do it every single time I click record. And we all need friends right now. So, if you want to comment on my stuff, comment on my stuff. That's fine. But it has been 53 minutes. It's 10:34 where I am at right now. I will continue to do these live streams. I promise. Because I've only read chapter 1 out of how many chapters? Let's see, how many chapters are there? There's 22 chapters, which means that I can potentially do 23 videos / live streams on this book alone. And I have the entire series, so this is definitely going to be a long-term venture. And I hope some of you got tingles out of it, and I'm just really appreciative for all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I have this live stream and all of my live streams going forward to automatically render and post as a video on my channel once the live stream has been completed. So they're always going to be available for you to go back and listen to on this channel. Please God, I gotta get this video quality better because this is ugly. But I do want you to be aware of the kind of the glitch that YouTube has going on right now. I ran into this problem with my last live stream, and I don't think the issue has been fixed. Normally in a live stream, once it's completed, it's supposed to render and be up on my channel within the hour. But for some reason, my last 2 live streams took between 24 to 48 hours to render and then pop up as an actual video on my channel. So I'm going to assume that this is going to do the exact same thing. So it pops up on people's subscribed tabs for them to click on and watch. But as far as it actually showing up on my channel, it doesn't. Why, I don't know. But it's fine. It's okay. So that will be up in the next day or two for here, so that people can watch it if they want to. And then videos will go back to next week. I'm starting to sound like a broken record. I'm very tired, and I have to get up early in the morning to go to work. So I love all of you guys. Thank you